Hello and welcome to Hospitality 360 Africa. We are at the venue of the FTAN meeting, where leaders of the hospitality, travel and tourism industries have gathered together to make a collective presentation to the authorities of Nigeria on how they can bounce back post-COVID-19 and the kind of support they will need to survive the pandemic. With the pandemic comes serious damages for the economies of many countries. And the hospitality industry here in Nigeria is not excluded from these damages. FTAN is the umbrella body for the Nigerian tourism business owners and operators in the private sector, with over 23 registered associations in it. Today, they have all gathered to make their position clear to the government. Join me as I bring you a summary of the entire meetings.
This is the meeting of the FTAN, Federation of Tourism Associations of Nigeria, FCT zone. This is for leaders of the sectors within FCT. This meeting is being convened so that we can collectively as a sector put our thoughts together and make a presentation to the authorities within FCT as to how the industry can bounce back post-COVID-19, even within COVID-19 era. The papers being put together is just how the government can support the industry. We are all aware that the industry is badly affected by the pandemic in terms, as you can see, all hotels are still shut. There is no flights. If there is no mobility, really there is no tourism. Mobility of the sector has been affected. Jobs are at stake. Industries actually. So that's why we now felt as leaders of the industry to come together and come up with options and suggestions to the government as how the economy can rebound.
After the meeting that lasted over 3 hours, every member of the FTAN seemed to have a common way forward for the Nigerian hospitality, travel and tourism sector. When asked the question of what challenges are you facing as a body, as a leader, do you see the industry bouncing back? Here is Chief Dr. Chike Ezeude, President of the Hotel Owners Forum, HOFA, Abuja.
Well, we all gathered for FTAN.
Yeah.
Because we are here on Abuja zone, yes. Then I will speak briefly on hotels in Abuja. Okay. And I will tell you that I had appeared in AIT before, and I said we are the worst hit. Hotels are the worst hit. I'll tell you why.
Please tell us why.
Yes. We have about 300,000 workers. And what is going to happen? We contribute a lot to GDP. And we are the next to government in employment. Okay. Now, you can imagine even if we multiply 300,000 by the minimum wage, you get about 1.something billion every month. That is what we pay out to our workers. But since this lockdown, what is the situation? We cannot afford to do anything because the hotels are closed. The workers who've sent away the workers. We have a lot of bills, and we've appealed to the government. We wrote to the government, please help us so that we can maintain our workers. But up to now, for the palliative, nothing we have not heard from the government.
So if you say help the hotels, what specifically will you be looking at?
What we're looking at is we have to pay, we have workers that we have to pay. We've not been able to pay them. If we don't pay them, you know the implication?
Absolutely.
Security-wise, unemployment-wise. Yeah. So that is what we're saying. We cannot pay them, and they are all on the street. And apart from that, we have other bills coming from other agencies. The worst one now we have is electricity. They've gone out to disconnect so many hotels. We pay, some of the hotels in Abuja pay $1 million a month. Some pay 20 million. The least pay about 500,000 a month. And they've gone around disconnecting the hotels. When we're on lockdown, nothing. We didn't use the facilities. but the bills continue coming. So we have other bills from other agencies, from FCT, from AMAC, from FIRS, and then what do we do? And that's what we're appealing to government. Please give us some incentive. We even wrote to Central Bank. Please, can you give us a small loan on one single digit? Yeah. But do you know what we got? Yeah. We got a reply from Central Bank of recent that we are supposed to go to the 50 billion palliative to the CBN, and that 50 billion has been oversourced.
By the entire country?
Yeah, I was reliably informed that it's been oversourced. And in fact, the information I got the other day is that they may give, if they are going to give to us, they may give about 2.5 million to one hotel. If that's condition, if they're going to give to us, they go by 2.5 million. So we made special appeal, and that's the outcome of the appeal, and nothing has happened.
Chief, if I may ask, many hotels run on loans taken from commercial banks, and these loans need to be paid back. Most of them are being paid back on monthly basis or annual basis, and some of these hotels are crying because, irrespective of the fact that the hotels are not functioning at the moment, most hotels still continue to pay back these loans at exorbitant rates. Is that part of your request from the government?
That's one of the major requests I wrote to the government. Okay. That we are in business. Yeah. We borrow money from the banks, and the banks. Some of the banks have started writing us, pay back your loan, and we made a special request to the government. Please, if you can only advise some of the banks, let them delay a bit. Give us a waiver so that we can be able to survive. Is it worth it now that we are on COVID-19 and an investor will die of heart attack or high blood pressure because of the loan he has taken from the bank? Absolutely. And the bank, they are in business, they will come to you and say, pay us. And we wrote to the government, please, if there is anything you can do, help us because we are in need. We are sinking already. And if you allow us to sink, then what is going to happen?
There are many hotels online now, put up for sale. Would this be as a result of the pandemic?
That is one of them. In fact, some of them have refused even to open. They don't want to open again because what are they going to do? And if I have the opportunity, I will even sell my own so that at this age, so that I can survive. I can survive because now the workers, some of my workers are coming every day. When do we resume? How do you pay us this one, and then electricity bills are coming, and banks are disturbing me, and all other bills are coming at this age.
Okay.
So what do I do?
So in a nutshell, sir, what will you say? One word, one sentence, or one for the government, please.
Government should try. It is what is done in other countries. Okay. It's the responsibility of government to intervene when necessary. And if the government doesn't intervene, what do you want to do?
Thank you, sir, for talking to us. With so much people out of job from the industry today, and being the leader of the hubs here, the employees in Abuja, do you think there is hope for these people to be recalled back to work?
Yeah, it's only, that's why we're asking for government intervention. Okay. So if there is a hand from government, that will go a long way. And then, of course, if the necessary business environment is facilitated by government, then, of course, the hotels, they have chances of, because it's just a restart. Absolutely. And then, of course, trying to pick up and grow again. So a whole lot of help is required from the government cycle.
It's going to be a gradual process, okay. Definitely, because with all the permutations that's going on, it says for the industry to actually bounce back, they are giving a 2-year time frame.
A 2-year time frame?
Yes. So it's going to be gradual. In as much as for us, the travel agencies, we know people are eager to travel, because there's a saying, there's what we tell ourselves: the more you lock us down, the more our desire to travel. But even with that, safety is also key. So it's going to be a gradual process. The interest is there. Let's gradually get into it. And What we have engaged our members, just like the hotels, like you said, if people are not moving from one place to the other, there's nobody to stay in the hotels. So our own offices too have been shut down since March. We have not opened. I'm sure dust is already gathering in our offices and everything. But notwithstanding, for us, what we have engaged in this period, it's tough, but I say tough times do not last. Absolutely. But tough people do. Absolutely. We've engaged our members a lot with empowering them with information. Okay. Because there's a World Tourism Organization standard, okay, that in which people need to be aware of. That's what is going to help them, yeah, and encourage them to begin to travel again. Yeah. So we are engaging with, of course, relevant bodies to have the standard being made to us, and of course the same thing being translated to every member. Because like I usually say, we are the ones closer to the people. Yeah. I mean, if you want to travel, you call your travel agent. Absolutely. Right now, even those that go online to do it themselves will not be able to do that right now, because everybody will want to have some form of advice, yeah, before they go anywhere. So so we are just empowering ourselves with that information, yeah, so that we can better equip, when we are equipped with, yeah, the information of what operates both in Nigeria and international, then we are in the best position to advise people where to go for now, where not to go, and plan their trip for them.
We're in the business of being consultants with anything relating to tourism. Okay. So anyone who wants to maybe enter into the tourism business, our group is a good group to talk to. Okay. And during this time, one of the things we've been doing actually is trying to organize live webinars, or I should say Zoom conferences, okay, looking for solutions to the problem. Yes, what's happening now with this whole COVID. How do we recover?
When you say recover, do you think we can ever recover, or are we trying to find a way forward?
Actually, I think we can, just that it will take time. It's not immediate. Yes, but definitely, and most of us in our group actually believe that Nigeria has such a huge tourist potential. Absolutely. It's unbelievable. They're not even tapping, and it's a shame to see that the government is not even tapping into what they have here.
We are a motorsport sanctioning body, which is basically a body that is created to organize and regulate motorsports activities. Okay. Yes, so it is a private sector. Motorsport around the world is private sector driven. Absolutely. So yes, the challenges we are facing currently is because motorsport is not really at an advanced level in our environment. So we have to put double the efforts that our counterparts in other countries are putting in. There are no government policies to encourage motorsports as a sport. Most of the focus is on athletics and football and boxing and the rest. So we basically have to do everything, source for everything, and funding, resources, and all of that. So at the moment, our activities were halted by the pandemic, yeah, and we had put a lot of resources financially and otherwise into planning events for this year particularly. So all that has been put on hold. We have investors, we have bank loans. We are basically in the same predicament as Nanta, yeah, where we have to actually service loans and pay staff, but we are not able to carry out events because sporting activities are put on.
With the pandemic comes our new ways of life, the new normals. These new ways of life calls for a certain set of new standards. Is there any concerted effort by the FTAN and its members to develop a set of safety standards that should guide the industry?
It's already ongoing, okay, by all key stakeholders, okay, who are involved both in the public sector, the private hotels, airlines, everyone that is involved, both the health sector. Okay. So everyone is involved. So, and the standards are being set together. Okay. Now is the time of how do we implement that? How do we get the hotels, the airlines, the tour operators, everyone to be trained and so certified, so they can align to that. So that's where the capacity building comes in. And then we work hand in hand with the Industrial Training Fund, ITF, so at least they also can train, and also people get their reimbursement on that. We work with the NIHOTA and other training centers that we have in place.
It's a very critical thing, and that is what most hotels are actually doing now. Training on the safety, workplace safety and occupational protocols. So it's cardinal, and hotels know, and it's incumbent on any and every hotel that wants to actually operate, in this era of post-COVID.
Yes.
Yeah, for survival.
So we are looking where.
And of course, that must be the point of emphasis.
So we're looking at a kind of safety guard coming up from the association to protect the workers.
Yes, you cannot. There's no way you operate without actually, keying into these safety measures.
Finally, these are the appeals of the associations to the government.
For us, it's grant. I mean, I'm a pusher of grant. I know there's a loan out there, but we don't need the loan.
Why?
We prefer grant because the problems we have, we don't manufacture.
Okay.
I mean, it's a service, exactly, service-based business. So why we are clamoring for grant and not a loan? Because nobody will collect a loan to pay salary.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So even if I get the CBN loan, it doesn't help me in any way. It doesn't help the staffs. Like the association, we have over 2,000 members with a workforce of over 50,000, in which right now they are all temporary unemployed. So what we are asking for, don't give us loan, because I'm not going to collect loan that I'm paying, even if the percentage is reduced to 5%, and use it to pay salaries. No. So we are looking for grants to help sustain Nigerians that are our staffs. When we talk about our staffs, they are Nigerians, tax-paying Nigerians that have a right they have equal right for their government to come to their aid. Our colleagues in other countries, guess what? They've been talking with their government. For some of them, their government said, we don't have money to give you, but this is what we're going to do. They take over paying their staffs. They took all their staffs under the government payroll.
That's interesting.
So that's what we're talking about. If you cannot give us grant to help us pay our staffs that have been crying and there's hunger everywhere, at least if they can pick them under the government payroll. Even if they don't give them what we've been paying them, at least the minimum wage, it's going to go a long way. By the time we eventually resume, we can now focus on continuing our business, instead of being bombarded with bills. Like a lot of us, we've received mails and letters that our rents are due, and our offices has been shut down since March. In short, NEPA bills is piling up under the door of our offices.
Interesting.
And they come every day and they still slip in the NEPA bill in an office that has been vacant. So you can imagine opening an office and all those bills are piling up. And the staffs with gloomy face because for the past 3 months they have not been paid. So for you to even get them to even give 50% of their time or their effort when business starts again, it's going to be difficult. You have to at least offset some of those 3 months outstanding for them to some extent. So for us, anybody that gives the opportunity to talk to the government, I will thank them for the loan. It's good, but we need grant. We need some form of assistance. Because these Nigerians, I tell people, if the government does not come to our aid, we have another pandemic waiting for us. The pandemic of unemployment. Because now we'll be facing the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic is not over. Yeah. But even when the system restarts, so we'll be having double jeopardy. Dealing with the post-COVID pandemic crisis and dealing with unemployment crisis. Wow. Moreover, the industry, this is our industry. We employ the largest set of youths between 18 and 30. So you can imagine those set of people out there, what's going to happen? I don't even want to think about it. No. I don't want to think about it.
We are appealing to the government to come to our aid, to support the youth sectors, to provide things that will enable the youth to come back to life again, so that they will not go into the streets and become nuisance and becomes a problem to the society. We are appealing to the government to assist the youth sector to move forward. Thank you very much.
We have heard from all the leaders of the subsectors within the tourism, hospitality, and their requests for support from the government, both at state and national level. Our industry is badly affected. There is no mobility, there is no movement. Things are actually, many investors are losing their finances, many people are unemployed, You've heard from the sector leaders as to their requests for the government. And I hope very, very soon something is done. Thank you.
They have all enumerated their challenges from government supports needed. Most of them need government support. Their challenges range from employee salary payments up to loan repayments, infrastructure maintenance, and so on. And we want to believe that the submissions they have made today will reach the authorities, and we hope that the authorities will act appropriately. Thank you once again for joining us. It's Emeka Ihumeze from H360 TV. Thank you.